Hey guys, Swervy here. Welcome back to Talking Hytale. Today, we are going to be looking into the huge variety of combat that Hytale have to offer. Before we look into it though, I'd like to quickly mention our Discord and Twitter. Both can be found in the description down below. If you are interested in talking to us, our community, or sharing your theories and ideas pertaining to Hytale, you should definitely check out our Discord. We would love to talk to you guys and hear your thoughts. You can also visit our Twitter page for news about the game and future content before it reaches the channel. Make sure to hit that like button if you do end up enjoying the video, and subscribe if you're new around here for more Hytale content. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. The combat inside of Hytale is something that the devs know they have to get right. Lots of players are very excited about the combat, as it can really make or break the overall adventure mode experience. It is very important that the combat is balanced, being challenging and enjoyable at the same time. Look at Minecraft's combat, for example. It's pretty dull, to be honest, and it doesn't really give players much motivation to keep going throughout the game. We have swords, bows, tridents, and well, that's about it. There are enchantments, and they are cool and all, but when it comes to playing survival multiple times, it really just does get bland. This is something that could have made Minecraft's survival element a lot more interesting, and the devs know that lots of people are hoping for an excellent combat system. When done correctly, it can add lots of replayability. If you look at Terraria's combat, for example, which has so much to offer, it allows so much replayability that it is kind of insane. There are so many weapons and different routes that you can go down. Every world is a different experience, and that is something that Hytale should definitely aim for. Based off what we have seen combat-wise, it's doing a pretty great job. Multiplayer PvP is also something that is very important, especially for a block game that follows in Minecraft's footsteps. PvP is a huge aspect of Minecraft's multiplayer experience and is extremely popular with lots of players. Hytale is being created by the developers of Hypixel, so they know what they're doing when it comes to player combat. They always listen to the community and strive to have a good PvP system. Minecraft has always limited them when it comes to creating a fun combat system, and they want to expand on it and give it even more life. This is great news for Hytale, as the devs know what they want, and they also know what the players want. They are aware that lots of players are looking forward to the multiplayer PvP experience, and it's pretty safe to say that they are working hard to make sure that it is fun and balanced. Minecraft already has a huge PvP fanbase, and if Hytale does it correctly, it will bring lots of Minecraft players over to Hytale, which is very exciting for the overall longevity of Hytale. If they nail the combat system, which we can assume they will, it will make minigames more entertaining and could take them to a whole nother level. Because Hytale's limitations are practically endless, we will also see a multitude of weapons being implemented, creating a more unique experience for certain minigames. If we look at the zombies minigame on the Hypixel server, we can see that guns are replaced by hoes. We could see this game inside of Hytale, as we've already seen a clip where the player is holding an actual gun shooting at zombies. Might I add, both the zombies and the gun have very impressive models and animations. This is a perfect example of how minigame combat will be improved upon, and we cannot wait to see what the Hytale team will surprise us with when we finally get to explore on their server. Anyway, now that we've looked into some of the potential of Hytale's combat, let's look into the things that have been confirmed. The Hytale team has touched on 3 major elements of combat so far, even if it wasn't direct. Although they haven't gone into too much detail when it comes to the combat mechanics, we've seen a few clips and screenshots that we can analyze. The 3 main elements or classes that we have seen so far are melee, of course, ranged, and magic. The Hytale team has shown us many unique weapons and tools throughout the clips and screenshots, and by looking at them more carefully, we can get some ideas of what the classes will be like. Let's start off with melee. We actually have a few clips that show off how the basic sword will work. We haven't seen anything too crazy, but we like everything that we have seen so far. These clips all come from the Hytale trailer, which was posted more than a year ago. What was shown there was already impressive, but we can only imagine that they've made it even better. In the first clip, we see that a player is running up to a torque and then swinging its sword at it. They trade hits, and we also see the player blocking the attack with their shield. It looks very impressive. It is pretty fast paced and will definitely make the combat more intense and enjoyable. The torque is attacking a player with an axe, which we can assume will be usable by the players as well. The axe's swinging mechanics look very impressive. Using this in game will definitely have its own unique feel and will potentially be an alternative to swords, unlike in Minecraft. The next combat clip that we see in the trailer actually shows us a boss battle with the legendary Outlander Colossus. In this clip, we get a quick glimpse of the magic, but we'll cover that in a second. We can see a close-up of the player attacking the Colossus with a giant axe or hammer, swinging it with brute force. It is a very unique attack and looks amazing in terms of animation. It also looks like it will do a lot of damage, and that could mean again, swords will not be the main weapon to go to when it comes to melee. This is very exciting, as it creates a bigger variety of weapons and makes the melee class more enjoyable. Although melee tends to be pretty straightforward, we could see it being more complex. This is very exciting news for those who prefer melee over other combat classes. Keep in mind, the Hytale team hasn't even shown us a lot of gameplay, so we're still in for lots of surprises when it comes to the melee class. Looking further into the trailer, we can see a few clips of the minigames where it shows off lots of melee. We are greeted with a Skywars clip where it's jam-packed with interesting things. things. Something that immediately stands out are the two players going at each other with swords directly in front of the player watching. There's lots of jumping and swinging going around, which is very exciting. This tiny interaction shows us that the sword combat will be more complex than Minecraft's mouse spamming, and that it will be more interactive. Something else that could make a huge difference in combat is the bridging that is shown in this clip. Although it isn't directly related to the melee, there's no need to speed bridge, as it takes after the Minecraft Bedrock Edition's bridging system. People have mixed opinions on this, but we will most likely end up making games move at a faster pace, creating more opportunities for melee combat. This is very exciting to us, but make sure to let us know if this gets you excited or not and why down below in the comments. Moving on, we also see a small clip of survival games, and there's another clip containing lots of players in some sort of arena team fighting game. There's not much to say here besides the fact that we saw lots of swinging, and who doesn't love swinging? One more clip that we'd like to look at is pretty exciting, as we got an up close look at the melee where the player goes up to a tiny chork camp and attacks the chork. We see that the player does lots of damage and that the sword moves very quickly. Looking at these few melee clips gets us very excited for the final result. We still have lots to learn, and the Hytale team still has lots of surprises up their sleeves. We will just have to wait and see, but we can expect to see even more unique weapons for the melee class. Anyway, that's enough about the melee. Let's move on to the range weapons that we have seen so far. We do not have too much information on the range weapons so far, but we have seen guns, bows, and spears. I already touched on the guns earlier, but we will most likely only see those inside of the minigames such as zombies. We haven't seen too much on how the bows will work in game, but they do have some impressive models. They will most likely end up working like your ordinary bow, such as the Minecraft one, but we will have to wait and see. Spears could classify as melee, but they are throwable and look like they will pack a punch. We see an example of the throwing mechanics in a recent clip. It is very smooth and gets us very excited for all the possibilities when it comes to range weapons. The rocks will most likely do damage and can make for great early game weapons, as they are scattered all over the ground. We can hope to see more throwable items in the future, such as ninja stars. This isn't far-fetched considering that it is Hytale and we have seen a ninja character already. We will have to wait and see, but the variety of weapons that this game will have to offer is already insane. Oh, and how could I forget the most powerful ranged weapon of them all? Poop! You heard me correctly. Poop will actually be throwable, and it does damage too. It's a 2-in-1. Imagine having poop battles. We expect to see many epic tales regarding the poop inside of Hytale, as we foresee some very messy battles with the almighty weapon. We cannot wait to see what else the Hytale team will surprise us with, as you cannot do much better than poop. Now, for the most interesting of the three, besides the poop of course, let's look at magic. We have seen some very interesting things with the magic inside of Hytale so far. Although the Hytale team has been pretty quiet about it, looking back at the boss fight from the trailer, we can see the player using a magical staff that spits out orbs of what we can assume is some sort of fire. As this is an elemental magic weapon, we can expect to see different magical tools for each element, such as earth, water, fire, and potentially some sort of air and electric weapons. This would really spice up the magical element of the game, as lots of players look forward to a complex magical system. This is just based off what we have seen, but knowing the Hytale team, the magic system will be above and beyond our expectations, just as they have done so with practically everything else that we have seen. Although we have not seen many clips on the combat mechanics, we were given a decently long gameplay clip where they show off all types of combat. We see magic, melee, and even ranged. The clip opens with two players preparing to fight off the evil horde of skeletons awaiting them. They proceed to burst through the door and the battle starts. We then get to see some excellent gameplay of the player using a hammer. The player takes down the skeletons with ease, bashing them away like it's nothing. This will feel excellent in game, giving us a sense of power and strength. The player then walks over to a skeleton that takes on the magic class, attacking us with some sort of book. The player quickly swings at the skeleton a few times and it's gone with a blink of an eye. We then get a glimpse of the player using the book for themselves, and it seems to be using the earth element. The animations are very clean and will definitely add to the immersion when it comes to using these magical books. We can definitely expect to see multiple books that use different elements, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Rewinding a little bit, we can also see the skeletons using bows to shoot at the players. This is a look at how the ranged weapons could potentially work. There's nothing special here, but it's good to know that we will have the option to use bows inside of Hytale. Although this doesn't relate to the combat mechanics, at the end of the clip, we see a player opening a chest to receive the one and only fire sword. This thing looks incredible and we cannot wait to see it in action. We've seen some impressive and exciting classes so far, but we haven't even touched on the multitude of exciting weapons that we will be able to use in game. We have seen multiple swords, staffs, daggers, bows, and even more throughout the concept art that the Hytale team has shown us so far. They all look very well made and unique, and also keep in mind that this is only concept art. This is a small amount of the weapons that we will be able to use. We will probably see lots of powerful weapons from the dungeons, boss battles, and random structures scattered throughout the world of Orbis. Also, on a side note, Noxie himself mentioned that there will be armor sets inside of Hytale that will give us set bonuses, similar to the armor system inside of Terraria. He talks about this in a podcast with Legion Gaming, and we definitely recommend that you check it out if you haven't already. We will make sure to link it down below, but anyway, let's roll the clip.
When you're dealing with magic, making sure that you're wearing gear that's appropriate for magic is really important to us. You shouldn't, you should be able to tell, and yes, we're against I would say hard code, like going too deep in the archetype, right? Going too far down that route, but I should be able to tell who's a knight and who's a magic user, right? Or I should be able to tell who's an archer just by looking at them. Because one of the tricky things that we deal with in Hytale is, when you're allowing the player to have, X different items and X different weapons and stuff on their person, they can switch between them at a drop of a button, right? You need a method that makes sure that they are, that when they pick that identity, it just can't be this, the thing that they just change in a microsecond, right? They've got to, maybe they've got to switch out their entire armor sets. So a lot of it is driven by armor sets. There's other things as well inside the game, spoiler territory, right? But a lot of it is driven by armor sets.
This is very exciting news, as it basically confirms that we will have lots of different armor sets and that it will make gameplay even more interesting and exciting. Hytale is really going all out on everything that we have seen so far, and the entire combat system is no exception. After delving into the possible mechanics of Hytale's combat system, it is evident that it will have a lot of unique things to offer, and that it will also make adventure mode and the minigames a lot more interesting. We have not seen too much information pertaining to the combat system, so most of this is just speculation, but we are very excited to see how the combat system will play out in the final game. Hopefully, we will get a blog post section on the combat in the near future that will elaborate on what we have seen so far. We cannot wait to experience the combat in game, as it looks very well made and exciting. Before we wrap up this video, I'd like to introduce a brand new segment that we like to call Random Reddit Reviews. This segment is essentially a quick review on a select Reddit post from the Hytale Info subreddit that we found interesting. If you guys have anything you'd like us to review, feel free to post your theories and ideas there. We'll link it down below. Also, we might eventually look at our own subreddit in the future, but we'll see. We thought this would be a fun little segment that we could incorporate into our videos that would create more interaction between us and the Hytale community. Alright, we wanted to start this segment off with a bang, so why not start off with a meme? Who doesn't love a good old Hytale meme anyway? This post comes from the user KFM2001, titled "The blog post is almost here." Amazing. We are expecting a blog post to be released very soon, so it works perfectly. And I gotta say, it's a pretty good meme. Hytale milking contest. Monthly blog post. It's a pretty cool cow, not gonna lie. Competitors. People hopping on new trends. Hytale YouTubers. I don't know, I don't like where this is going. Hytale YouTubers. I'm sorry. Monthly blog post. Wow, what a poor cow. I'd personally rate this meme an 8 out of 10 on the epic scale. It's honestly pretty epic, and is probably the truest thing I think I've ever seen. Good thing we don't do that here at Talking What? Get that off the screen! Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe for more Hytale content. If you guys have any suggestions or ideas that you'd like us to cover in a future video, make sure to let us know in the comments down below. I hope to see you guys in the next one, but until then, see ya!